wife's own house in London, where I thought to hide. But I was taken by the very men I thought to hide from, by Haredale. I heard the bell as he struck me down.
You heard a bell?
No, I heard the bell. Let it be, will you? It hangs there yet.
You might have thrown him down or stabbed him.
Might I? Between that man and me was one let him on. I saw it though he did not, and raised above his head a bloody hand. Yes, he and I looked at each other on the night of the murder, and he fixed his eyes on me and raised his head like that.
You've got a strong fancy.
Strengthen yours with blood, and see what it will come to. 8 and 20 years. Fancy! Do I fancy that I killed him? Do I fancy that as I left the chamber where he lay, and saw a man peeping through a dark door, who clearly suspected what I had done? Do I remember that I spoke fairly to him, and drew nearer, nearer yet, with the hot knife in my sleeve? Do I fancy how he died? It was then that I thought for the first time of fastening the murder upon him. It was then that I dressed him in my clothes and dragged him down the back stairs out to the piece of water. Do I remember hearing the bubbles come rising up after I had rolled him in? And did I go home when I was done? And my God, did I stand before my wife and tell her? And did I see her fall to her knees? Is that fancy? Do I remember when she called upon heaven as her witness that she and her unborn child denounced me from that hour? And did she tell me to fly while there was still time? For though she would keep silent, being my wretched wife, she would not shelter me! And did I flee that night, abjured of God and man, yet anchored deep in hell, to wander the earth at my cable's length, until I was dragged down at last?
Why did you return?
I was a man who had been dead 22 years. I was not known.
You should have kept your secret better.
My secret! Mine! It was a secret that any breath of air could whisper at its will. It lingered in strangers' faces and on their lips. My secret.
It was revealed by your own acting anyway.
The act was not mine. As truly as the lodestone draws iron to it, so he, lying in his grave, could draw me nearer at his will.
I suppose then you are penitent and resigned, and wish to make peace with everybody, in particular with your wife who's brought you to this, and that you ask for no greater favour than to be carried out and hung as soon as possible.
What? Has my whole life, for 8 and 20 years, been one perpetual struggle and resistance? And do you think that I want to lay down and die?
Rudge! I'll not call you that again. I'm really anxious that you shouldn't die unnecessarily. Your worthy lady, with a tender conscience, your virtuous, scrupulous, and not blindly affectionate wife is in London.
A curse upon her, be she where she may. How do you know?
From the noble captain, the illustrious general, the beloved Simon Tappertit. He told me last night that Barnaby was taken from a companion he knew of old in Chigwell, and that he's under arrest for attacking a soldier.
And what is that to me? If father and son should be hanged together, what comfort shall I find in that?
Suppose I set my lady out and say thus much. A person accused of being your husband He's in prison. The charge against him, murder. Man, your husband has been dead a long, long time. If you could say on oath how he died and where, and that this man is no more he than I am, I would undertake to help your son, a fine lad, out of harm's way. I know the truth about those who dragged him into the riots, their names and their whereabouts. If you refuse to decline, if you decline to do so now, I'm afraid the law will most assuredly sentence him to suffer death.
There is a glimmer of hope in this.
It's time for visitors to leave the jail.
Cheer up, friend. This case of mistaken identity will soon be laid to rest. Then you'll be a man again. Wait.
The clock was past the stroke of one when Gabriel, Varden, and Miggs sat in the little parlor above the Golden Key. Come to bed! Do go to bed and count Barrett! Simon, how comes it you return at this time of night? And in this condition too? Give me assurance that you have not been amongst the rioters. You've been drinking.
In the most offensive sense of the word, sir, I consider you a liar. But on that last observation, you have unintentionally struck upon the truth.
I trust it may turn out that this poor lad is not the victim of the knaves and fools we often had words about. If he has been at Ward Street or Duke Street, Martha, your great association would have been the cart that draws men to the gallows and leaves them hanging in the air.
He was not at Duke Street, nor at Warwick Street, G. Pardon. But he was at Westminster. Perhaps, sir, he kicked a county member. Perhaps he tapped a lord. You may stare, sir. I repeat, blood poured from noses. This was a bishop's tooth!
Simon, get to bed and sleep for a couple of hours so you may wake penitent.
Yes, I will do.
He has lived in this house, man and boy, for 12 years, and I am sorry if for this one day's work he has made a miserable end. Quick, Simon, get to bed. Miggs, take him.
Come to bed, Dagger, please.
You speak of Miggs, sir. Miggs may be smothered! Your family may all be smothered! Except in you, Mrs. V. I come here for your sake tonight. Chalk no potpourri on your door tomorrow night. It's a precaution, madam. You may need it. Farewell, G. Varden. My bleeding country calls me, and I go. Things that you don't let go of me, I'll pinch you. Ordered state of society. Me to provide for you comfortably. Will that satisfy you?
Knock you down if you come near this door.
Mr. Martin, if I could have known.
Yes, of course, I know, my dear. But recollect from this time that all good things perverted to evil purposes are far worse than those which are naturally bad. Let us say no more about it, my dear. That is easily disposed of. And I would to heaven that everything growing out of the same society could be settled as easily. So, pleasant dreams to you, my dear, and cheerful sleep.
Lights.
Not long after the sunrise of the next day, you awoke to what had now become the headquarters of the Bulldog Company of the GPA, the Boot Tavern, in its rather isolated vicinity of the town proper.
Good day, master. Is this better? Heard about burnings and thunderings of chops last night. Some papers heads were cracked. Is this more to your liking?
No, it is not.
What would you have? We cannot kill them all at once.
I would have you put some meaning into your work. Fools! Can you make no better bonfires than of rags and scraps? Can you burn nothing whole?
A little patience, master. Wait a few hours and you shall see. Look for ends in the sky and sheep well away.
Oh, you know the news then? Yes, I would suppose you would have heard it.
News? What news?
You don't. Dear me, come, that I am the first to make you associated with your distinguished position. There's a proclamation from the King of Council offering a reward of £500 to the person who can discover those most active in the demolishing of those chapels.
Is that all? I know that.
Ah, your aristocratic friend, I might have guessed, was bound to tell you.
Friend? What friend?
Do you suppose I don't know who you How dull you think me. Shall I say his title name, Sir John Chester?
No!
You've also heard of him, I've no doubt, that the risers who are taken, or simple-minded fellows, are committed for trial, and that some very active witnesses will have the temerity to appear against them. Among them, a Catholic gentleman, one Hareden.
great step is to make examples of these witnesses, and frighten all men never appearing against any of our bodies.
Do not, my good fellow, forget I told one night about this person. Fire, the saying goes, is a good servant, but a bad master. Make it his master. He deserves no debt. Remember, he thirsts for your lives and for those of all your brave and slow-witted companions. What are you for? What's the man's name? Barnaby, if not for yourself.
Hi, get up. Come on, get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Come on.
No,
Get up.
Lights!
That same night, John Willick could be seen arguing with the three cronies that made Paul in. Gone, and secretly much missed by him, were the evenings when old John could vent his argumentative nature on his son, Joe.
That Joe had joined the King's army to fight the American War 5 years ago.
And not been heard from since.
Do you think, sir, that I'm a born fool?
No, no, we know better than that. You're no fool, Johnny.
Johnny, not you.
Then what do you mean by telling me that you are going or riding up to London to have the evidence of your own senses?
Well,
Don't I tell you that His Blessed Majesty King George III would not stand the rioting and rocking in the streets? Do you suppose, if this were true, that he wouldn't be afraid to leave his house with them two young women, Emma and Mr. Varden's daughter in it?
well, the Vaughan is a goodish way out of London, and the story goes the royals never leave the city.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the story goes. The story goes is that you saw a ghost, but nobody believes it.
That's true. And true or not, if we mean to be going to London, we must be going. So, shake hands, Johnny, good night.
I shall shake hands with no man that goes up to London on such nonsensical errands. Mr. Willett looked after them and laughed at their father. Idiots. And he set himself comfortably and fell sound asleep. When he was not across the land, when he awoke, a few bright stars were twinkling overhead. Was there a sound in the air? Who's to pay? entertainment. Here was my bar crammed with men. Pistols! A deafening noise.
Oh, shells!
Hey! Men darting in and out. I'm going with
Marching long, sunny time!
drinking liquor.
Break and open drawers, putting things in their pockets.
My things which didn't belong to me. Dividing my own money before my eyes.
Constantly wasting.
Breaking, falling down, it's tearing up.
Men everywhere.
Yelling, singing, fighting,
Swarming all like insects. Noise!
smoke,
Light! Darkness!
anger.
Love, fear, and ruin!
Dear old Jack, I'm not gonna hurt you.
Do you hear? I said you won't be hurt, old Jack. Do you hear me?
He's so dead scared, he's wool gathering
I believe there's a trifle of broken glass. I'll witness this house, my lads. Go in, and whatever else you please, and towards the rest. Burn it down, my boys. Your
Wait!
The Maypole cronies strode through the forest path on their way to London. They made inquiries of the people whom they passed concerning the riots.
All accounts agree that the mob were out and that the streets were unsafe.
They dismounted at a turnpike gate when a horseman rode up from London at a hard gallop on the other
And
side.
called a voice of great agitation.
Open quickly, in the name of God.
Mr. Haredale!
What's that? A fire! They saw in the distance, in the direction of the Maypole, or beyond,
A broad sheet of flame.
casting a threatening light upon the clouds,
Which glimmered with the conflagration.
and showed like a wrathful sunset.
My mind misgives me, or I know from what far building those flames come. Quick, friends, open the gate for my horse.
Sir, Mr. Haredale, be advised by us, do not go on. We've heard of ruffians pass this way and suspect what kind of men they are. You will be murdered.
So be it.
No, Mr. Haredale. Good sir, worthy gentlemen, pray be persuaded. Do not go, sir. You cannot place them alone. They're out to do mischief to Carthage, sir.
Then my niece and servants and Miss Varden are in danger. Will you come with me? I may need witnesses.
Us, sir? We'll all go with you, sir.
In an instant, they were off at full gallop.
It was well their horses knew the road they traversed.
But never once did Mr. Haredale leading cast his eyes upon the ground.
I'll tell them from an instant towards the light toward which they sped so madly.
Right on, till they reached the Maypole door.
And plainly see that the nearby fire began to fade, as if for want of fuel. Will it? Will it? Are my niece and servants here? Will it?
Johnny?
Please a change. And the Maypole bar should come to this. We should live to see it.
Will it? Are my niece and servants, did they arrive safely? Are they safe here somewhere?
No, Miss Doctor Johnny.
Daisy! Chimo Church? Bellringer? Hey, Johnny? Say you're alright, Johnny.
I sing to the praise and glory.
Say you're all right, Johnny. They didn't beat you, did they?
If they only had good Mr. Barnaby. Thank them kindly.
No, don't say that. It's very, very bad. But not quite so bad as that. No.
Have you seen or heard of Emma?
No.
Nor anyone but these bulldogs.
No.
They rode away. I trust in heaven before these dreadful sins began.
Abruptly, Mr. Haredale left, mounted his horse, and flew, rather than galloped, towards the pile of ruins.
Once there, he dismounted and stole softly along the footpath and into what had been the garden of his house. He stopped for an instant to look upon its smoking walls and at the stars that shone through the roof and floor to the heap of crumbling ashes.
Not a tear, a look or gesture indicating grief escaped.
Is there anyone here who recognizes my voice? There is nothing to fear now. If any of my people are here, I entreat you to answer. Miss Farman. Emma!
He was kneeling at the foot of the tower where the alarm bell hung. The fire had raged there, but a part of the staircase still remained, winding upward from a mound of dust and cinders.
Yet the bell still hung on the fragment of stone, now sounding dismally amid a few night breezes.
Lights.
The Newgate prison cell in which the manacled Barnaby had been locked was very dark and by no means clean. Barnaby felt his way to some straw at the farther end and tried to accustom himself to the gloom.
Then heard two men conversing very near his cell. I tell you, Montgomery, I wish I was an officer and had the command of 2 companies. Only 2 companies. I'm a young regiment. Call me out to stop these riots. Give me the needful authority. And have it doesn't round the ball.
That's very well, but you know the magistrate won't give the needful authority.
There's the use of the magistrate. Here's a proclamation. He is a man referred to in that proclamation. He is evidence against him, and a witness on the spot. Damn me, take him out and shoot him, sir. Who wants a magistrate?
Let the folk beware men. Makes a man sorrowful to come back to good old England and see in this condition.
I suppose the pigs will join the next round with the birds and set them the example.
The birds?
This basket here is called cries, pat as any of them. The balls, never bad breed like the devil eats and eats. Damn me, I would twist his neck around if I had mine. It's going! It's my friend. My pedigree. Please, don't hurt him. He has done nothing wrong. I taught him. You wouldn't have to pull bird, I'm sure. Damn, for the thief and rebel that you are. Are you sure you could rest up with me to decide? I'm going to find a stopper in that bird, and his master too.
You speak boldly to a caged man. If I were on the other side, then they would not support us. You change in no time now. The library. Take care of it.
His head covered and turned from Barnaby's gaze. Tenderly took Rick from the basket and thrust him in through the bars. Who, with his head drooping and his knee rough and rumpled, seemed to comprehend and to partake in his master's golden
Following their abduction, the flames of Emma Haredale's home, that terrifying young woman, and the equally bound in silence to Dolly Farmer, were taken to an upstairs room of the Boot Tavern, blindfolded, and thrust into a galloping coach for miles they had no idea where they had now been taken nor why. But they were all too well aware lit the first torch to the warrior.
Brave birds, here's your cage for the moment. Delicate birds. And loving little doves. Not a peep out of you, my chicks. Not that any screams would help you. This place is remote. No windows in this room. We're watched on every side. None of the fellows guarding you care for you as much as I. If you want to be untied, you'll stay quiet till I tell.
Darling, has he hurt you? Where have they taken us? We were hours in that coach, and they both were borne to the ground, surely.
Dear Emma, from what I could hear, I think they've hidden us somewhere in London, on the edges of town. The soldiers are sure to come. We must be rescued, I know it. We must be released. But what will they do or think? Who will comfort them at home? The Golden Key or your uncle?
My dear darling, if we remain quiet and roll the vigilance of these ruffians, our chances of procuring assistance will be very much increased. A hot pursuit was surely immediately followed. My uncle will never rest until he has found and rescued us. With my dear Edward and London life.
And Joe. Poor fond, slighted Joe. What a brave fellow he was. And how he would have rode boldly up and dashed in among these villains now. Yes, though they were double the number.
Now, my lovelies! You must be silent as the grave. Oh, I swear, I shall stifle you with kisses. So, don't be quiet, pretty mistress. Make yours. You. I shall like it all the better.
Why have you brought us here? Are we to be murdered?
Murdered? Oh no, there'll be no murdering our pets. Nothing of that sort. Quite the contrary.
Have you no pity for us? Do you not consider that we are women?
I do indeed, my dear. It's very hard not to. She's fainted. So much the better. She's quiet. Looky pretty bird. Remember what I told you? A kiss for every cry. Scream if you love me, darling.
Oh, I knew it! I was sure of it! Oh, my dear father's at the door! Oh, thank God, thank God! Bless you, Sim! Heaven bless you for this!
Emma Hairdale, I hope you're as comfortable as circumstances will permit of. Dolly Barton, my darling, my own, my lovely one. I hope you're pretty comfortable likewise. You meet in me, Miss V, not apprentice, not a victim of your father's tyrannical behavior, but the captain of a noble band. Behold in me not a mender of locks, but the healer of the wounds of his unhappy country. Dolly V, sweet Dolly V. For how many years have I looked forward to this? Behold in me your husband! Yes, beautiful Dolly, charmer and slaver, Estepity is all your own! They shall remain locked together till tomorrow. Come away!
I'm awake.
Ladies, you'll hear all of our intentions tomorrow! in the meantime, make no cries for aid. For if you do, it'll be known directly that you come from a Catholic house. And all the exertions our men can make may not be able to save your lives.
Lights.
Mr. Dennis, the Newgate head jailer, unlocked the door of the prisoner's cell. Set it wide open, informing its inmate. You're at liberty to walk in the adjacent yard for an hour. Find their guards on all sides and no sliders with the other prisoners.
It was a dull, square yard, made cold and gloomy by high walls, which seemingly chilled the very sunlight. The stone, so rough and bare and obdurate. The prisoner's attention was grabbed by a familiar voice in song.
Anyone know where they're taking Barnaby? Which prison? Has any man seen or heard of him?
Stag, you just rejoined our troops. Have you seen him?
There's a stranger without who's been asking for Hugh. Says he knows of the half-wit, but he's not known to us, so we've kept him guarded.
He is but one man. Let him come in.
Which is you?
I am. What do you want with me?
I have a message. You know where Barnaby?
What of it? Did he send a message?
Yes. He's taken. In a Newgate cell by now. I was one of the few who tried to help him. But it was of no use. That's his message.
When did you see him?
On his way to jail where he's taken by soldiers. I was one of the few who tried to help him, though it failed. That Barnaby's a bold fellow. He fought like a lion, but it was of no use. I wanted to help him, considering I want this limb.
If we bear this timely another day, we'll see us all in jail.
Yeah. If we stood our ground and rescued him right there, this would not have happened.
We'll dominate to Newgate!
Brothers, to go now in broad day would be madness. But if we wait until night with an ingenious plan of my own division, we may not only free all Barnaby, but all the prisoners, and burn Newgate down!
We'll burn every jail in London. They shall have no place to put their prisoners. Here, and all who are men here, join with us. Shake hands upon it. Barnaby out of jail! And tell us now who joins!
Lights.
on towards the jail like all expected?
The leaders took the way to Clerkenwell, pouring down a quiet street, halted before the locksmith's house, the Golden Key.
Beat at the door. We want one of his craft tonight. Beat it in if no one answers.
There! The shop is shut. The doors and shutters of the sturdy bar. They beat with no use. The impatient crowd screaming a cry of "Set fire down!" The door was thrown open. And a stout old locksmith stood before them, armed and defiant.
What now, you villains? Where is my daughter?
Ask no questions of us, old man. But put down your gun and come with us, and bring the tools of your trade. We want you.
Mark me now, my lad, and you amongst him do the same. There are a score of ye who I see now and know, who are dead men from this hour.
Will you put down your gun?
Will you give me my daughter, ruffian?
I know nothing of her. Take him then.
Let the man who tries take heed to his prayers. I warn him.
We want your master, not you, and we'll take no denial.
Oh, good gentlemen. Oh, my
Bullshit nonsense, will you? And Barnaby, put down that gun, or it'll be worse for you.
Don't mind his gun. I pulled a mugger table there right down the barrel. It wouldn't go off not if you used to load it to the muzzle.
Get him!
Oh, I know.
Stay back.
Gentlemen, I've been locked up here for safety, but my endeavours has always been and always will be to be on the great side, the blessed side, and to pronounce the book of Babylon.
If he's right, Captain, with his lamp tight shining. I feel we wish me money, like.
You have robbed me of my daughter, who is far dearer to me than my own life. And you may take my life if you will. I bless God that I have been enabled to keep my wife free of this scene, and that he has made me a man who will not ask mercy at such hands as yours.
Don't be a fool, master, but do as you're told. You need you. You'll soon hear what you're wanted for. Do it!
I'll do nothing of your request, or that of any scoundrel here.
He's got a grey head, he's an old man, don't hurt him.
Pay no respect to my grey hair, young man. My heart is green enough to scorn and despise every one of you, band of robbers that you are.
Remember, people, we want his services and we must have them.
Look, Pardon, we're bound for Newgate Prison.
I know you are. You never said a truer word than that.
To burn it down, I mean, and set the prisoners at liberty. You helped to make the lock of the great door. You must show us how to force it.
Master!
Yes, well, you know and I don't. You must come along with us and pick it with your own hands.
When I do, my hands shall drop off at the wrist, and you shall wear them, Simon Tappertit, on your shoulders forever.
Nothing about that! You! Grab the basketball, the tools still need one. I'll bring them along. Doing in some of you!
Is the young woman to be released?
No, we need not let her act!
Right service of the matter of the gun, my captain, has she not?
Yes, but she...
My women's life is not a window!
Hold on. Get hold of her, somebody. She never ought to be let out. What are you sliding off the ground?
My angel Sibyl, he promised!
Promised? Well, and I'll keep my promise. I mean to provide for you, don't I? Stand up!
But no! What is to become of me after my actions at this night? What resting places remain but the silent tombses?
I wish you was in the silent tombs, as I do. Box that in a good tight one. Take her off, will you? You understand where? Street.
the mob was set in sudden motion.
They bore down straight on Newgate and halted in a dense mass before the prison.
Lights!
Mr. Haredale, from the dawn of morning until sunset, had sought his niece in every place he deemed it possible. In every quarter, in Chigwell and in London, he pursued his search. On this night, as he wandered, he heard whispers that the mob were attacking Newgate. If it were possible, if the murderer were set free, would he die with the suspicion of having slain his own brother? He had no consciousness of it, but he found himself in front of the jail. The mob was pressed together in a dense, dark, moving mass. Mr. Haredale was recognized.
Nay, be more so, my good sir. We attract attention here. Come away, these folk cannot the men of your faith.
He's always good for doing something. I do like him for that.
Leave me be, and my good friend, save yourself.
What can you do among so many men?
What is this? Why are we here?
We're here to have them captured by the mob. Then we saw you on the skirts of the rioters. But come with us. You seem to know my friend here.
Yes, surely.
You should tell him I am a man to be trusted. He's my servant. Come with us. Pray, come with us. It's safely accompanied him to a nearby alleyway, free from the dark, and from the mob.
Once there, they removed what they wore upon their heads.
Joe Willett. And Edward Chester.
Give me your hand, sir. Don't feel to shake it. Here's a friendly one, though it has no fellow. God bless you, sir. Take heart. Take heart. We will find them. We've not been idle. You've gotten no friends from enemies, Mr. Haredale. If it wasn't for this gentleman, you'd be dead or badly wounded by now. It was Mr. Edward Sharp Eyes that saw you before that foul fellow did.
What fellow?
Hugh. He's now the leader of the mob and seeks your death, and has taken away your Miss Emma and mine. That is, Mr. Varden's daughter, Dolly.
So you must remain safely here, Mr. Haredale. You are too exhausted and too recognizable to be aid of us. I swear to you, we shall deal with Maypole Hugh and figure out where he has hidden Emma and Dolly.
We forewarned the military and a trap's been set in Newgate. But now they've got Gabriel Varden, and the old man has sworn to die rather than help them.
So, we must return to prison immediately, disguised as we have been for many nights. Stay here, Mr. Haredale. We will fetch you once Varden is safe.
God bless you both, for you are surely guardian angels sent to us in our time of need.
Lights.
The rioters raised a great cry as soon as they were running before the jail.
And demanded to speak to the governor.
Where's the governor?
After repeating their summons many times.
A man appeared atop the great gate and asked, "My fellow citizens, loyal and obedient to our good King George, I'm sure, what do you want?"
Are you Mr. Dennis, the head jailer?
Yes, I am.
You've got some friends of ours in your custody,
I
master.
have a good many people in my custody.
Deliver up our friends and you may keep the rest.
It's my duty to keep them all. I shall do my duty.
If you don't throw open the doors, we shall break them down.
Break 'em!
We'll have the rioters out. We shall have Barnaby Rudge set free!
People, you should disperse. The consequences of any disturbance in this place will be very severe and bitterly repented by most of you when it is too late.
Mr. Dennis! Mr.
No
Dennis!
more from any of you.
But I am not one of them, Mr. Dennis. I am an honest man. Gabriel Vaughan, the locksmith.
You, among the crowd?
Brought here by force to pick the lock of the great door. Bear witness for me, Mr. Dennis. I refuse to do it, come what may of my refusal.
Where is the man who spoke to me just now?
Here.
Do you know what the guilt of murder is in that by keeping this tradesmen by your side. You endanger his very life.
Let us have our friends, master, and you shall have your friend. Is that fair, lads?
You see how it is, sir? Keep 'em out. Once again, you robbers and cutthroats, I refuse. I refuse! Oh, you cowardly dog! Give me my daughter! Give me my daughter! Oh, give me Dolly! Give me my daughter! I demand it of you right now!
Leave it to me! Leave it to me! Why do you waste your energy on one as such as he when one man can finish in as many minutes? You lose time! Remember the prisoners! Remember Barnaby!
The cry ran through the ball.
Stop me at a boy, hail! Upon the prison gate!
And as a rattle on the wall! Meanwhile, others you see nearby houses!
Oh, Alberta! Out up against the prison gate!
Fire with torches. The door, though quickly a sheet of flame, was still a door fast locked and barred, and kept them out. So now great pieces of blazing wood were passed above the people's heads for such a sin.
Who stood at all ladders and cast these firebrands down into the prison gate?
The door sank down. Its separate lever
Yielded, came down, crouching down. Apart, Captain Tappergate!
beautiful legs!
Pride of his figure!
Now smash beneath the monstrous portals.
Instantly shot from fire from the soldiers on the other side!
The muskets raised.
Some rude rioters cried out, ah!
And all fell back.
Leaving a space of fire between them and the jail entry!
You went to one of the large heaps and left a trail of spots.
No retreating, lads! For Barnaby! The door's down now! Now's our chance to bring down the whole prison! For Barnaby! For Barnaby!
Nowhere, you murderers, but in the very cell you meant to break. Men, reload and form a line at the opening. If your cowards return, they'll find us here all night if need be.
Lights.
Emma Haredale.
And Dolly.
Lady Dolly, my niece. Remained cooped up together in what had been their prison now for many days.
Hearing only the murmured conversation in an outer room of the men who kept watch over them. They listened attentively.
Now and then, a moan seemed to be wrung from a person in great pain. It must be some misguided papist that's been wounded. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Is it possible that you who have seen these men committing the outrages you have told us of, and who have fallen into their hands, like us, can exult in their cruelties? Personal considerations, miss, sinks into nothing afore a noble cause. Hallelujah, good gentlemen. If the time has come when they are bent on prosecuting the designs with which they have brought us here, can you still encourage and take part with them? I thank my goodness gracious blessed stars I can, miss. Hallelujah, gentlemen.
Niece, hold your tongue directly.
Which was you pleased to observe, Miss Barnett?
Hold your tongue.
Oh! Gracious me! Yes, to be sure I will. I'm an abject slave, in a toiling, boiling, constant working, always being found fault with never giving satisfaction for his vessel, ain't I, miss? My duty is to hide myself before the base degenerating daughters of their blessed mothers, ain't it, miss? Oh, yes. Sir, have you come to free us?
Return us to our families.
For what other purpose am I here but to preserve you? Dolly, do you hear?
The saint is most timely, sir.
Hallelujah! Thank the first Protestant Lord of God! You have news of my uncle's
him, I hope, tonight.
My uncle, sir.
Your uncle, dear Miss Harefield, has succeeded where many of our creeders fail and is safely out of London.
Of your creed, sir?
I thank God for it.
Does he desire that I should follow him?
Does he desire it? But we have no safety but in flight, and we are watched on every hand and detained here both by force and fraud. But I, having powerful Protestant connections, happily possess the means of saving your uncle. And now I'm here, in redemption of my sacred promise to him, pledged not to leave you until I have placed you in his arms. And that I have forced my way here, sword in hand, you see.
Don't go with him, woman.
Well, hush! Pretty fool. Be silent. Miss Haredale, time presses and danger surrounds us on all ends. If you decide to remain, remember, our effort is solemn caution.
Stay so one moment, I beg you. Cannot we go together?
People of all ranks and creeds are flying for the town, which is sad from end to end. The task of conveying one female is through such ease enough. I've said she will be restored to her family tonight. If you accept the service I tender Miss Haredale, she will instantly be placed in their safe conduct. Do you decide to remain? Do you stay or go?
Dolly, my dear girl, this is our last hope. If we part now, it is only that we may meet again in happiness and honor. I will trust to this gentleman.
No, pray, do not!
You will hear that tonight, within a few hours, you will be among those who would die of grief to lose you. Pray for me, dear girl, as I will for you. Say one, God bless you. Say that in parting.
We have no more time for this. Are you ready now? Outside there.
I'm quite ready.
My good sir.
See here! See here! Where would any of us have been without these two tonight? Oh, Mr. Edward! Mr. Edward! Oh, Joe! How light and yet how full you make my old heart tonight.
It was Mr. Edward who knocked him down. I longed to do it, but I left him up to him. Come, you brave and honest gentlemen. Get your senses about you. You haven't long to lie here.
Let me be well used, masters. I have access to all my Lord Gordon's papers, Mr. Haredale. A great many in secret drawers known only to me. I can give some very valuable information and render assistance to any important inquiry. I'll have to answer if I receive ill usage.
You're waited for outside, do you hear?
And now, gentlemen, the sooner we return to the Black Lion Tavern, the better, perhaps.
The outer room through which they had to pass contained signs of the flown bulldogs.
Lying in hiding, burnt and bruised, Simon Tappertit.
With another shot wound in his body, his legs.
His perfect legs. The pride and comfort of his life. The comfort of his existence. Crushed into shapeless ugliness.
Wondering no longer at the moans that they heard, Dolly shuddered at the sight.
But neither bruises, burns, nor wounds, nor the torture of his shattered limbs and half so keen a pain to Simon's breast, as Dolly passed it out, for Joe was her preserver.
Point them and be happy. Is the truth. He sat beside his father whenever he was allowed in the prison yard, waiting for her footsteps in every breath of air. Oh, Mensa! Only you! In the woods by the Chigwell Road. We waited for you to return to the Maple after you had robbed Mr. Edward Chester. How are you now?
Why is he
afraid
here?
of you. Why is he you?
Why is he here? What has he done?
He was shot last night. When they were trying to burn down the front gate, he was trying to set me free. He was trying to set us all free. You like him, don't you like him now?
He has blood stains on him still.
Does this look to blood? Are you sick, Father? It does, I can see it in your face. It's like me. What are you looking at?
At nothing. At nothing.
As Barnaby tended to Hugh, he thought about how happy he would be. His father, mother, he and Hugh. He could escape, ramble off to some lonely place where none of these troubles existed. And that the blind man who talked so wisely about God would teach them how to live without being pinched by want.
But Rip walked among them, and croaked himself hoarse with dire predictions, like the famed raven in that unhappy Scottish play.
Right.
Celebration table had been spread in the Black Lion Inn.
And a company of bonds, with Haredales and one Chester sat down to supper. Surrounded by faces with which he had been well acquainted with in old times, John Willet recurred to a subject with uncommon vigor, apparently resolved to understand it now or never. At last, with the course of the meal done,
He stared at his son with all his might. It's being took off.
by George, he's got it!
That's where it is. It's being took off.
Tell him where it was done, Joe.
At the defense of the Savannah, Father.
Savannas.
In America, where the war is.
In America, where the war is. My sons, they took off. At the defense of the Savannas in America, where the war is.
Yes, Joe had lost an arm. Well-made, handsome, gallant fellow. Stolly glanced towards him and thought of the pain he must have suffered. The tears came rising to her eyes.
We are all safe now, Dolly. We shall not be separated anymore. Cheer up, my dear, cheer up.
Yes, oh dear, beloved daughter. All is well now, and shall be better soon, I vow. Mrs. Haredale and I know perhaps better than your father the injuries you've sustained and the necessary medicine for your recovery. Oh, Miss Haredale, I think may, in fact, be in need of the very same medicinals.
Mayhap she needs some mayo.
Why, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Depend on it. I do myself. Quick, everyone, into the common room. I'll buy what's needed. Come on, the whole company.
One saw you take on so much for what is gone and past. You are safe and happy now. You haven't changed unless it's for the better. You are more beautiful than ever. I'm glad to see that you're admired and courted. Can pick and choose a happy life.
I shall bless your name as long as I live. I shall never hear it spoken without feeling as if my heart would burst. I shall remember it in my prayers every night and morning till I die.
Will you? Me indeed. Well, that makes me happy to hear you say so. Your voice brings up old times that for the moment I feel as if those be otherwise. I've been abroad fighting. I have come back poorer in purse than I left and crippled besides. Once wished I'd come back a richer man and marry you. I was a boy then. Have long since known better. Glad to see that you, admired and courted, could live a happy life. God bless you.
Lights.
After 4 beautiful days and terrifying nights, peace and order were restored to the frightened city. As day deepened into evening, darkness crept to every nook and corner of the town.
Barnaby sat in his dungeon, wandering in the silence. Beside him was one in the image of the rejected love. Mother, tell me, how long, how many days and how many nights must I be kept here?
Not many. I hope not many.
No. Your hopes will not undo these chains. I hope no good minds. Grip hopes. Guess the grip. Besides to be mine. He does nothing all day. Wander around in the dark corners. Oh, my life divine. What shall we call him? Will they take his life as well? I wish they would. You and I and he were to die together. There would be nothing left to grieve for us.
They will not harm you. They will never harm you if they know.
Do not be too sure of that. And cry no more. Say that I am bold, and so I will be. So I am. But I have done no harm, have I?
No, not for heaven.
Let them do their worst. Why? You told me once when I asked you what death was. That it was nothing to be feared of if we had done no harm. Oh, Mother! You forgot it, I said. You thought I had forgotten.
Shh, let's be very quiet. It's getting dark now, so I'm not leaving for the night.
In tomorrow.
Yes. Every day after that, and never depart again.
Mother, I asked you earlier about my father, and you cried hush.
Do not speak of him. Do not speak of him.
Why not?
Because I am sorry he is alive. Sorry he has come back because, dear Barnaby, the endeavor of my existence has been to keep the two of you asunder.
Why?
He has shed blood. The time has come, we must remember it. He has shed the blood of one who loved him well and trusted him. And though we shun him, he is still your father, and I his wretched wife. They say his life equals lose it. But it must not be by our doing. Nay, if we bring him back to innocence, who will be bound to love him still? Do not seek to know him. If they question about him, do not answer. God be with you tonight, as it be. God be with you. As the widow crossed the yard on her way out, she saw through a grated door which separated it from another court. Her husband. Miss Dennis, might I speak a word with this prisoner? I know him.
Yes, but you must be quick about it, for I'm locking up for the night. Do not go too near to the bars, Mrs. Rudge, for your own safety.
Right, a little dog. Do you murder too?
our son is in this prison.
What is that to me? I can no more aid him than he can aid me. If you have come to speak of him, be gone. Am I to live or die? Do you repent?
Do you? Will you, while time remains? Husband, dear husband, if you will but confess this crime, I swear in the great name of the Creator that he will comfort and console you. And from that hour, I will watch you night and day in the time that will remain to us. And I will soothe you with my truest duty and love, and pray with you that our son may be spared to bless God and his own poor way in the free air and light.
Be gone! You speak, you plot, do you? You plot to have speech with me, and then you tell me that I am who they say I am. A curse be upon you and your boys.
On him the curse has already fallen.
Let it fall heavier.
No.
Let it fall on one and all.
Enough.
Curse you! I curse the hour that I was born, the man I slew, and the whole living world!
Lights.
My friend the centaur goes the way of his mamma. I'm not surprised. The exceedingly free and easy young madman of Chigwell. I'm quite rejoiced. These insane creatures make such very odd and embarrassing remarks that they really ought to be hanged for the comfort of society. Peek, I'm not at home to anybody, but the hairdresser.
Sorry, Mr. Peak, I must...
My good fellow, how come you to intrude yourself in this extraordinary manner upon the privacy of a gentleman?
Sir John, my business is not of a common kind, I do assure you.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. I'm sure we have met before, but really, I forget your name.
My name is Gabriel Varden, sir.
Mr. Varden, the locksmith. And what can I do for you?
Sir John, I am just now come from Newgate.
God, from Newgate? Where there are jail fevers and ragged people and men and women running about. Oh, Mr. Varden, how could you?
The case is urgent. I am sent here.
And my good, credulous, open-hearted friend, by whom?
By a man called Dennis, the head, many years previously, the hangman.
And what does this gentleman require of me?
At the jail, Dennis discovered that one of his condemned prisoners was a young man, Hugh by name, a leader in the riots. From some words which fell from this unhappy creature, Dennis discovered that Hugh's mother had suffered the same death to which he was now condemned. One conversation led to more, and Dennis, the former hangman, discovered that he had executed this woman himself. She had been tempted by want into the easy crime of passing forged notes. She was young and handsome, and the traders who employ men, women, and children in this traffic looked upon her as one who would go without suspicion for a long time. But she was stopped in commission of her very first offense and died for it. She was of gypsy blood, Sir John, and had a high, free spirit. Efforts were made to save her, and they might have been successful if she would have given them any clue about her history. But she never would or did, until she had but a minute to live. Then she said in a low, firm voice, which no one heard but this executioner, "If I had a dagger within my hands, and he was within my reach, I'd strike him dead before me even now." Dennis asked who, she said, "The father of my boy." Was the child alive? Dennis asked. Yes. Dennis asked where it was, its name, and whether she had any wish respecting it. She had but one. It was that the boy might live and grow in utter ignorance of his father, and that when the boy became a man, she trusted to God to bring the father and son together and revenge her through her child.
What has this tale to do with me?
Sir John, at 12 tomorrow, this young man Hugh will die. I know you anticipate the disclosure with which I am about to end, and that you believe this doomed man to be your son.
My dear Mr. Barton, to what does all this tend?
I suppose it tends to some pleading of natural affection within your breast. I suppose to the exertion of every nerve, and to the straining of every muscle for your miserable son. At the worst, I suppose to your seeing him, sir.
Mr. Barton, have you really lived to your present age and remained so very simple and credulous as to approach a gentleman of established character with credentials such as these, hangman and ruffians catching at any straw? Oh dear, oh fine, fine!
Think better of it, Sir John, when I am gone. For although you have turned your lawful son, Mr. Edward, from your door, you have years to make your peace with him. But that 12 o'clock will be here soon, and soon be past forever.
Big! Show Mr. Barton to the door! Spoke my name to her executioner. I would had I not seen that dark face of hers. This affair would make noise abroad. It rested on better evidence. But, as it is, I therefore disliked it. Still, I gave him very good advice. I could have done no more if I had known of our relationship. The hairdresser may come in. Pink!
Shift.
As the locksmith walked slowly away from Sir John Chester's chambers, the clock struck 12. It was a solemn sound, and not merely for its reference for tomorrow, for the locksmith knew that in that chime the murderer's knell was rung. Mary Rudge's husband, father to Barnaby, to the last, he had been an unyielding, obdurate man. He had harmed rather than relented, and that the last words which passed his white lips were curses on them as his enemies. Mr. Haredale had determined to be there and see it done. The locksmith knew this, and when the chimes had ceased to vibrate, hurried away to meet him. For these two men, Hugh and Rudge, I can do no more. God have mercy on them. But Barnaby, poor Barnaby, what aid can I render him? I never knew till now how much I love the lad.
Lights.
On this day and about this very hour, Mr. Wallace sat this chance smoking a pipe in the Black Lion.
When his son Joe entered, he laid down his pipe and chuckled audibly. Why, you own spirits today, Father?
Oh, it's nothing at all particular, Joseph. Come, tell me about the Solanas.
Shall I tell you, Father, that have come back as poor as a church mouse, maimed and crippled? You know that.
It was taken off. The defense of the Solanas in America where the war is.
Everything I've come to talk to you about, Father. A one-armed man has no place in the busy world.
can't pick and choose his means of livelihood. Father, Mr. Edward has returned from the West Indies. When he was lost sight of, he travelled to one of the islands, and in short, is prospering. And he's returned to England on business, and plans to go back speedily. Our returning and meeting in the early troubles has opened up a path in life for me, Father, where I can tread without being a burden upon you. In short, Father, I'm going to take my one arm away with him and make the most of it.
Don't leave me, you mustn't, you mustn't!
Dear Dolly, my Dolly.
They call me that always, and never leave me again, or I shall die, Joe. Dear Joe, I always loved you. In my own heart I always did, though I was vain and giddy. Through all these long years, I have never once forgotten you, or left off hoping that this happy time might come. And now at last, if you were ever sick and shattered your every limb, I would be your wife, dear love, with greater pride and joy than if you were the staliest lord in England.
What have I done me with this reward?
You've taught me to know myself and your worth, to be something better than I was, to be more deserving of you.
Oh, Father, do you know who this is? It's your future daughter-in-law, my always loved Dolly. Well, say something if it's
Certainly, Joseph. Oh, yes, why not?
To be sure, why not?
Oh, yes, why not? Certainly, Joseph. Oh, yes, why not?
Mike!
Barnaby was to die. There was no hope. They had tried to save him. The locksmith had carried petitions and memorials to the fountainhead with his own hands. But the well was not one of mercy, and Barnaby was to die.
From the first, his mother had never left him, and with her by his side, he was, as usual, contented.
On this last day, he was more proud and more elated than he had been yet. And when his mother dropped the book that she was reading aloud to him, it fell from his neck. He wondered at her anguish.
Ah! Rip uttered a feeble croak, then lapsed abruptly into silence.
It was morning but moments ago. They had sat and talked in a dream, and now
The dreadful hour of separation was at hand. They walked into the courtyard, clinging to each other.
You are no more. Your house is in my hand, please. Think of my surely mother. They shall see.
Fetch me the book. I left it upon your bed. Kiss me first.
Courage, go, Barnaby. What care we? The world does right to put us out of this world. For if we got loose a second time, we wouldn't let him off so easy, eh? A man can die but once.
One rioter was to die before the prison, who had been concerned in the attacks on it, and one directly afterwards in Bloomsbury Square. At 11 o'clock, the prison bell began to toll.
The hollow murmuring of the awaiting crowd could be heard as plainly within the jail as without. They were brought forth together into the yard, as it resounded through the air. They knew its import well.
What? Courage, bold Barnaby. Don't be downcast, lad.
I'm not frightened you. I'm quite happy. I'm not afraid to die. I wouldn't wish to live now even if they let me. Look at me. Am I afraid to die? Will they see me tremble?
All's ready when the last time is heard. Do you have anything to say?
Barnaby, I'm ready. Yes, I have something to say too. Come hither. I'll say this. If I had 10 lives to lose, I'd lay them all down for this one. This one that will be lost through me.
No! Not through you. Don't say that. You are not to blame. You have always been so kind to me, you. We shall now know what makes the stars shine. The group shall stay behind to keep my lover's heart.
I took him from her in a reckless mood, and did not think what harm would come of it. I asked for her pardon and his. Look at him. Look at him. You've often in the last few days spoken to me of faith and strong belief. And I did believe as strongly as any of you gentlemen can believe in anything, that this one life could be spared. See what it is? Look at him! If it was not faith and strong belief, where are they? What is to teach me? Born as I was born, and reared as I have been reared, to hope for any mercy in this hardened, cruel, and unrelenting place. The head of that man, who in his own conscience owns me for his son, I wish that he may never sicken on his bed of down, but die a violent death as I do now, and have the night wind as his only mourner. To this I say, Amen. Amen.
There's nothing more?
There's nothing more.
Forward.
Lights.
The sign of the Golden Key, fair emblem of the locksmith's trade, had been torn down by the rioters and trampled roughly underfoot. However, it was now hoisted in all the glory of a new coat of paint, and shown more bravely even than in days of yore. The shutters of the shop were closed, however, and about the house there was a look of sadness, an air of mourning. The locksmith's hammer was unheard. All was silent, dark, and dismal. It was on the threshold of this door that Mr. Haredale and Edward Chester met. Varden brought mother last evening, he told me.
She's above stairs now. Her grief is past all telling.
Varden's out.
He was out the whole night. But, of course, you know, he was with you a great part of it.
He was. Without him, I should have lacked my right hand. He's an older man than I, but nothing can conquer him.
The cheeriest, stoutest-hearted fellow in the world.
A greater creature never lived.
It is not all men who have the happiness to do that.
Sir, you still love my niece, and she is still attached to you.
I have that assurance from her own lips. And you know that I will not exchange it for any blessing life could yield me.
You are frank, honorable, and disinterested. You have made the conviction that you are so, and I believe you. You have a name that I have great reason to remember. I was urged on and prodded by thoughts and recollections of personal wrong and injury, but even now, I cannot charge myself with having ever strayed from the true heartfelt desire for her true happiness, nor with having ever acted on any other impulse than the one pure, earnest wish to be to her the father that she had lost.
Dear uncle, you've known no parent but you. I've loved you all my life. Never was father kinder to his child than you have been to me.
Edward, I owe you an apology, sir. Please forgive me, lying.
I ask your forgiveness. Edward, you judge yourself too harshly.
I ask your forgiveness.
You judge yourself too harshly. Let these things rest.
Bear blessing from us both. Never mingle thoughts of me with anything but undying affection and gratitude for the past, and bright hopes for the future.
Future is a bright word for you. Mine is of a different sort. When you quit London, I shall leave too. Now, when you go on, your wealth is fairly equal, but I desire to add, as a token of my love, a poor pittance for you. Leave our ill-fated house in the ruin it is, for when you return, you shall have a better, more fortunate one. We are friends. When I look upon you now, and to know you, I feel I would have chosen you for her husband. Her father had a generous nature, and you would have pleased him well. It is in his name and with his blessing that I give her to you. He's quiet. We should have known. Prepared for it. I shall go out at once.
She knows it all, yes, sir. She knows it all. We broke it out to her by degrees, and she is quiet. There.
The free pardon to Barnaby Rudge, made out inside and given to a horse soldier for instant conveyance upon the place of execution. And that courier reached the spot just as the cart appeared in sight. And so, I have brought him home.
Lights!
The scene was a churchyard.
The time, midnight. Persons, Edward Chester.
Emma Haredale,
a clergyman. They stood about a grave which had been newly dug. A dim lantern shed its ray upon the book of prayer.
There was no inscription on the lid of the coffin. The mold fell solemnly upon the last house of this name and smell.
And the rattling dust left a dismal echo in the ears of those who had accompanied it to its resting place. You never saw him living.
Often, years ago, not knowing him from my own brother.
Never since.
Never. Yesterday, he suddenly refused to see me. It was urged upon him many times my desire.
Still he refused. It seems hard, unnatural.
Do you think so?
You do not.
We here in the world wonder every day at monsters of gratitude. Did it ever occur to you that it often looks for monsters of affection? Supposing they were his, of course.
They walked to the gate and departed the solitary grave.
Lights.
One afternoon, the locksmith sat in the little back parlor of the Golden Key.
His wife had decorated the room with flowers for the greater honor of Dolly and Joseph Bennett.
With recollections to with which they may marry.
Leave the which the locksmith asked.
Joe, do you remember that night at the Maple? When you first asked after Dolly? Or that night when she was at the party in the sedan chair, the way Mrs. Garden had mixed those flowers you brought out the window? That was rather heartless of you, Martha, my dear.
I knew how they felt about each other long before Joe and Dolly did. I said to myself, that young Willie deserted me looking after our Dolly, and I must have to look after him.
Now, Mr. V, you just sit down. I'll see who it is.
Well, what is it, Joe? What are you laughing at?
Oh, nothing, sir. It's coming in.
Who's coming in? What's coming in? Oh, damn me! If it ain't Meeks, come back.
Can I exchange my feelings of these here once again united moments? Oh, Mr. Boyd, his blessedness among relations, his forgivingness of injuries, his amicableness. To think that dear Mr. Joe and dear Miss Dolly has rarely come together after all has been said and done contrary. What sweet sensations are woke within me. And did my missus think her Mix would ever leave her? Did she think wages was her only object?
My dear, do you desire this?
Do I desire it? I am astonished. I am amazed. Let her leave this house this moment. Oh, good gracious! Oh, good gracious! Oh, good gracious!
Do you hear what your mistress says? I think you had better leave.
You stay and take this for the sake of old service. Oh, good gracious.
I think you said that once before.
Times has changed, is they been? You can spare me, can you? You can keep them down without me. I'm glad to see you grow so independent. I feel sorry, though, especially considering how ill you spoke of Mr. Joe. To have him forced been off and on for so many years with a coachmaker. It ain't so much you catch after looking sharp as ever as a little chit, costing such a deal in a dress and show. Line. Common soldier with one arm to get a poor common soldier with one arm. If I had a husband, he wouldn't have one arm anyways. I'd have two arms if it was me. And instead of hands, it'd be hooks at the end.
My dear, this is not a thing to cry about. It's a thing to laugh at. Oh, come, Dolly, let's sing us a song, and we shall all be made merrier for this interruption.
There were 3 ravens sat on a tree, down a down, hey down a down, and they were black as they might be with the down.
One of them said to his mate, "Down before our breakfast day, down, down, down." There on the fields of green.
A month later, Mr. Haredale found himself alone on the road leading to the warren. Any effort he had made to part from Emma with seeming cheerfulness and hope had left him more perplexed. With these feelings, he bent his steps toward the mansion which had for so long been his home, and looked upon its blackened walls for the last time. He had nearly made a circuit of the building when he saw before him a man on his own ground standing there, a man whose presence of all mankind he could the least endure.
What an odd chance it is that we should meet here.
It is a strange chance.
The most remarkable and singular thing in the world. I never ride in the evening. I've not done so for years. The wind seized me quite unaccountably in the middle of last night. How very picturesque this is.
You praise your own work very freely.
Work? Mine, I really do think.
Why, you see on all sides where fire and smoke have raged. You see where destruction has been wanton here. Do you not?
My good friend, of course I do. I'm very sorry for you, but you can bear it as well as I expected. What is your misfortune to do with me?
You, urged and stimulated to do your work, a fit agent, but one who, in the very essence of his being, is a traitor, and who was as false to you as he has been to all others. You set on Mr. Gashford to do your work, with hints and looks and crafty words. You urged him to the abduction and dishonor of my niece. You did. I see denial in your looks, and denial is a lie.
You will take notice, sir. I have taken the trouble to deny nothing. Your discernment is hardly fine enough for the perusal of faces, nor has it ever been that I remember. Or in one face I could name, you would have read indifference, not to say disgust, somewhat sooner than you did. I speak of a long time ago. I speak of your first love, now my deceased and dimly recalled wife.
You say you do not deny. Do you admit?
You yourself proclaimed the character of a gentleman, assuming him to be what you described. I have nothing to say to Mr. Gashford.
Sir John, in your every look and word and gesture, you say this act was not yours. I say that it was, and that you tampered with the man I speak of, and with your wretched son, Hugh. God forgive him to do this act. Line.
To you I trace.
To you I trace the insinuation that I alone reaped any harvest from my brother's death. In every aspect of my life, you have stood like an adverse fate between me and peace. So, for the second time, and for last, I cast these charges in your teeth.
Last time. Be assured it is. Did you really believe our last meeting to be forgotten? What kind of man is he who entered with all his sickening cant of honesty and truth into a bond with me to prevent a marriage he affected to dislike, and when I redeemed my heart to the spirit and let a scoff from his? Edward. Poor fool, the dupe of such a shallow knave, trapped into a marriage by such an uncle and such a niece. But he no longer is a son of mine. You are welcome to the prize your craft has made, sir. Haredale, I have always despised you, as you know. But I am giving you the credit for a species of brute courage. I am sorry to find you a coward.
4 for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4, 11, 2, 3, 4, 12, 2, 3, 4, 13, 2, 3, 4, 14, 2, 3, 4, 15, 2, 3, 4, 16, 2, 3, 4, 17, 2, 3, 4, 18, 2, 3, 4, 19, 2, 3, 4.
Mr. Haredale fled that night, repairing straight to a religious establishment known throughout Europe for the rigor and severity of its disciplines. He then took the vow which separated him from nature and from mankind, and after a few remorseful years was buried in its gloomy cloisters.
2 days elapsed before the body of Sir John was found. As soon as it was recognized and carried home,
the faithful valet, true to his master's creed, eloped all the casual rewards he could lay his hands on.
Lord George Gordon was solemnly tried at Westminster for high treason. Gashford deserted of course. Years later, a meager, one-old man, he was found dead within his bed at an obscure inn.
where he was quite unknown. He had taken poison.
Mr. Simon Tapperty, being removed from a hospital to his place of trial, was discharged by proclamation on 2 wooden legs. By the locksmith's advice and aid, in course of time, he took a wife. With this lady, he lived in great domestic happiness. Occasionally, Mr. decapitated would go so far as to pick it himself as to correct his leg with a brush or boot or shoe, while she, but only in extreme cases, would retaliate by taking off his legs.
He speaks, baffled in all her schemes, turned very sharp and sour. It chanced that the justices of peace of Middlesex stood in need of a female turnkey. Miss Miggs was instantly chosen and promoted to office, which she held until her decease, more than 30 years afterwards, remaining single all that time.
The elder took up his abode in a small cottage in Chigwell.
To this his new habitation, Tom Cobb, Phil Parks, and Solomon Daisy went regularly every night.
And in the chimney corner, they are full quaffed,
and smoked,
and prosed,
and dozed, as they had done of old.
Joe Willett
And Dolly Barden
were made husband and wife,
and reopened the maypole.
It was not long before there were to be seen many more,
Small Joes.
and small dollies that could be easily counted.
And the grandparents, Gabriel and...
Martha Barnum became the most joyful example of marriage
to be seen in the British Empire.
When the riots were many years old, Edward Chester and his wife returned to England.
With a family almost as numerous as Dolly's, and one day appeared in the Maypole porch.
Barnaby knew them instantly and wept and leaped for joy.
He lived with his mother on the Maypole farm, working in a garden of his own and helping everywhere.
Never was there a more popular creature with young and old, of neither a more happy spirit than Barnaby.
And though he was free to ramble where he would, he never quitted her.
And was forevermore her stay and comfort. Oh, and concerning Grip the Raven,
Though he'd been a bit molted in Newgate, he soon recovered his looks and became as sleek and glossy as ever.
he soon started to practice and perfect the vulgar tongue.
Debbie.
And while he was yet a mere infant when Barnaby was grey, he was most probably gone on talking to this very day.